What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the TV Toycast YouTube channel. Today we are unboxing from the world of Retro Mattel. Yes, we're going back into that world as the one and only. It is the British Bulldog. No stranger to retro figures, that is for sure, as I have unboxed several British Bulldog retros. Maybe not on the channel necessarily, but in my collecting time for sure. But this actually rounds out the new gen box they did. We have unboxed all these on the channel. Granted, it was big spurts in between. It was Shawn Michaels, Alundra Blaze, Dr. Isaac Yankem DDS, and now the British Bulldog. So I got a lot more Mattel Retros to unbox. In fact, just today I got in the new Bloodline set, which was Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, Jimmy, and Jey Uso. There's the new set on Mattel Creations, which includes Virgil, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Ultimate Warrior, and King Harley Race. I haven't even bought that yet. I need to get that, plus the new ringside retros. Not to mention, the Hastel toy, the grapplers and gimmicks, which, that's Hastel toy, Epic toys, Title Run toys, figure collection, Zombie Sailor toys. There's so many retros. It's Retro Mania, it's Retro Fatigue, but you know what? The way I look at it, if I don't buy these now, I may regret it later, so I did pick these up. Of course, we do know that Mattel has recently kind of revamped this packaging, and it looks a lot better than this does. So this, of course, this isn't bad. This is kind of a love letter to the original Hasbro without being too exact. That was at least my opinion. We got the old school block style logo, authentic superstar moves, Union Jack attack. That's kind of fun and clever. Of course, British Bulldog, kind of in his 96 look, I would say here, kind of when he reverted to the trunks, because I don't think he really wore trunks until then. He wore pants, obviously, back in the 80s. Even through like a 91, maybe 92, he was wearing the long tights. The trunks didn't come around until about 96, 97. So definitely a new gen version of the Bulldog. Of course, he's got the Union Jack. He's got the side tassels, similar to the Ultimate Warrior tassels on the boots, which he always kind of liked that. Very, very cool. On the back there, we got a cutout bio card, a little bit of information on what he does move-wise. Of course, they got the rest of the lineup, like I mentioned, Shawn Michaels, Alundra Blaze, the British Bulldog, and Isaac Yankem. Isaac Yankem was a fun one for me. Honestly, I would have bought that one just for the set, because I love the goofy gimmicks, and that certainly is one of them. And I don't think anyone else would have been able to make him, with Kane being under a Legends deal, of course, or at least being a part of the WWE family. It says there on the bio card, not a lot of information, but it does say British Bulldog went from hero to villain after forming an alliance with the legendary loudmouth manager Jim Cornette. Interesting they mentioned Jim Cornette. I know sometimes when they don't have a Legends deal with somebody, they don't even mention them, which is interesting, but it did mention Cornette right there. I'd love to see Cornette in the fold somewhere somehow. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but I would love to see the Midnight Express get figures. Big rubber guys would be fun. If they could get a deal with Mattel, obviously they would fit in great with that new LJN line. I know a lot of people would dig that, so somewhere, somehow, some way, I hope it happens. I know he's good friends with the guys over at Figures Toy Company, so they do a lot of Jim Cornette, and they've done the Midnight Express as well, obviously, but I'd like to see something different, so I guess time will tell on that. But of course, we got resealable packaging here. Some people like it, some don't. I don't mind it. I think it's a little bit easier. It kind of takes away some of the fun, honestly, because it just pops right out, and then bam, you got your figure. But I guess a lot of people can put this right back, and no harm done. But it does kind of create a thing of like, well, was my figure ever open? Because, you don't really know. So, of course, we got this side pose here. This was actually one of the new movements Mattel did give us, which I think is cool. You can do the arm up or the arm down. Of course, they got the tassels there. Kind of short on the tassels. A little bit, I don't know if I like that. The face is not the best Bulldog face, but it's not horrible either. Of course, we got the tights here. And these, to me, I think sometimes with the retros, the gear is a little bit simplified, which I'm okay with, because that's how Hasbro did it, The Hasbro gear was always more simplified, so that actually does not bother me in the slightest. But again, your mileage may vary here. But this is a fun Bulldog. I think it came at a time when, I know Figures, Epic Toys did a British Bulldogs 2-pack, which is actually a really good set. I know Hastel Toy did many versions of the Bulldog. I don't think Zombie's done Bulldog yet, although I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't. The Majors, of course, did a British Bulldog Bendy, and they also did the British Bulldogs as big rubber guys. Granted, those are different scales, but we definitely got a lot of Bulldogs, and I think there's going to be a lot more Bulldogs to come. And, of course, he's still under a Mattel deal. I know he's got an upcoming Legends figure where he's kind of got the long hair, but like sort of the biker tights. I think it's a look from about 1995, actually a pretty cool one. There's a Monday Night Wars British Bulldog I have over there from about 96, same era, but when he was wearing the long tights, because He did kind of wear both in this time, so definitely an interesting time for the Bulldog. To me, I've always loved the British Bulldog. I think he's one of those guys. There's a handful of guys in the 90s that probably should have been WWF champion that never quite got there. The British Bulldog was definitely one of them to me. So, he obviously had chances in 1996. He wrestled Shawn Michaels on several pay-per-views. In fact, they were the main event of King of the Ring 96 for the title. He wrestled Bret Hart many times for the title. And he was always kind of one of those guys who was in contention. And you kind of wonder, like, if the Montreal Screwjob hadn't happened in 1997, I wonder if Bulldog would have been in line to have a run with Austin in 1998, maybe Bret Hart leaves, but in different terms, maybe Bulldog does stick around. It's hard to say. And then, of course, he returned to the WWF in 1999, but this is after a pretty bad injury, and I don't think he was ever quite the same. I remember him wrestling in jeans in that era. Do you guys remember that? It was a different time. One pay-per-view, he busted out the tights. At Unforgiven 99, he wore the tights again, which was like, hey, the Bulldog. But then he went back to the jeans. It just never felt the same. It was a different look for sure. I think he was trying to do something a little bit different, but it didn't feel right. Although I think they did the jeans Bulldog as a Build-A-Figure. I would like to have that in the regular line. I always thought that was kind of a fun look, even though it was quite ridiculous at the time. But overall, not a bad retro figure. I don't think Retro Mattel quite gets the love of some of these other companies. But I also don't think that this figure is very much on their forefront. I think this is just something they do to appease the fans because they've done it in the past. And I honestly feel like, I could be wrong here, I don't think that this would have ever been revisited if it didn't have such an uproar. I think they had planned to do a few waves and then stop. But everyone was like, whoa, we want retros. That was kind of a hashtag, right? And that spawned a lot of these companies doing them. I don't know if we would have a Hastel toy or a Zombie Sailor Toys or Title Run Toys or any of those companies if Mattel hadn't brought this back. I remember when they first announced this, it blew my mind. I remember seeing those 6 original retros at Comic-Con and Bill McKenna doing the movement with Kevin Owens. I was like, oh my god, they are bringing back Hasbro's. And here we are all these years later, unboxing guys like Lord Alfred Hayes, like who no one would have expected that, or Atsushi Onita. Definitely not on the bingo card, but I'm glad we got it. I think it makes it really, really cool. But let me know in the comments down below if you got retro fatigue or if you're all in on the retros. I have a feeling it'll kind of come and go in waves where people are like, I'm done, and then they're like, oh, I'm back in, because that's kind of how collecting goes. You get out of something, then you get full force back into it. It always goes that way, but it's always interesting for sure. But a lot of retros coming our way. I know I've kind of decided on certain guys. Hastel Toys, one of them. He put out multiple versions of the Bulldog. I bought one. He put multiple versions of Diesel and multiple versions of Tatanka. I bought one of each because I'm like, I want one, but it's hard to justify 3 when they're the prices that they are. And I understand he has to make money, and I get it. But, at a certain point, if it's a different gimmick, I can justify it a little bit more. I did buy Diesel and I did buy Oz, but totally different characters, so to me it feels different in the collection. But again, time will tell on that. And, again, Mattel's doing great stuff with theirs. I think these, like I said, they slide under the radar a little bit, but there's a lot of guys I'd like to see. I mean, now that we have, Demolition back in the fold, I'd love to see Demolition back in the retro line. I think that'd be really cool. Even Crush, Demolition Crush, he's back under a deal. How cool would that be? I know Figure Collections is releasing a new Kona Crush, which looks really good. The Hardy Boys, I'm going to be unboxing them soon. I just got into Berserker from KWK, so many cool ones. Zombies doing Hakushi. How cool is that? Mr. Hughes with an urn. Are you kidding me? So much fun. I dig it a lot. So I'm very excited about it. And of course, if you guys would check out the other videos on my channel, I do 3 unboxing videos every single week. This yesterday actually, as this is Wednesday's video. Yesterday was a fun one. McFarlane Toys Page Punchers Leonardo from the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles line. I'm into this line 100%. I went to Target today. All of them were gone. Oh, that was music to my heart because that means they're selling. That means people are buying these too. So they're going to move. That means we're going to make more figures, hopefully. So I think that's a cool thing. So I'm looking forward to that. I got the other 3 over here, and I'm just waiting on getting those unboxed pretty soon as well. Last week was a really fun week. On Monday, I unboxed He-Man from the Masters of the Universe New Eternia line. The Masterverse New Eternia line. So much fun. Love that figure. Such a great He-Man. On Wednesday, I went to the world of Scooby-Doo and the new Jada Toys line with Shaggy Rogers. How cool is that to get a Scooby-Doo line in 2025? Absolutely love it. And then on Friday was also another really fun figure. I unboxed Vampire Joker from the new DC, well, not new, but it's been out for a little bit, from the DC Multiverse line. McFarlane's losing DC at the end of 2026, so it's over a year from now, but it's still one of those things like, man, these figures are insanely good. And it's crazy to think that it's going away because they're so much fun. Even that figure blew me away, but I'm looking at it like, this thing is amazing. So check all those out. New unboxing videos, like I said, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. What's on the Pegs is dropping every Saturday. And then, of course, check out the TB Toycast podcast. That's our flagship. We drop a new episode on our podcast feed every Thursday. We have a different main event where we cover all the different, we cover a specific toy line, a classic toy line, kind of in its entirety, in a series by series. And then we also dive into all the news and happenings in the week leading up to it. So check it out. Always a lot of fun. Thank you all very much for checking out the TB Toycast YouTube channel. That's Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog in retro form. And we will see you in the toy aisle.
Yeah. One more time. It ain't over till I say it's over. So lock the cage up, cause this is a takeover. The wait's over. If this the final time we meet, then you'll be on your back on my feet. Then I'll tip the cage over as a hangover. I'm super fly so I can splash off the top. And I can shut down the shot.